Almost many things teach us how to love, but nobody has ever taught us how to undo the love.
The idea of building relationships is that it's of support on all levels of life. In every way, two people can do better than one person, that is the idea.
So, moving on. My question is very relatable to the audience as well. Heartbreak is something that I think
Who broke
everybody…
your heart?
So, heartbreak is something that almost everybody goes through, and especially at some point of their time.
Oh.
And I remember, in fact, my teacher once telling me that it is at your time you love, you break, and you learn to love again and again and again. But
Who is
the
this
beauty…
teacher, huh?
Sorry?
Who is this teacher?
That's a top secret. The beauty of it is that you fall in love again and you break, but then it always ends up healing you again. I wonder, Sadhguru, everybody teaches us how to love. Movies, poems,
Really?
Bollywood.
If you do the things that you're doing in the movie, nobody will love you.
Literature. Almost many things teach us how to love, but nobody has ever taught us how to undo the love.
About breaking hearts. I don't have a broken heart because I gave away my heart very early on in my life, so nobody can break it, I gave it away. Just do that, then nobody can break it. So we must understand this. What is a love affair? Is it okay? Mechanics of love affair, we can look at it. I'm not trying to de-romanticize everything. Just this. Let's say you were 10 years of age. You looked around, the world was quite normal. Hello? Was it normal when you were 10, 12? It was normal. I'm not picking on you because you're in the first row, okay? So it was looking quite normal. Suddenly, after some time, you got little poison, chemically poisoned. When you looked, every little bump on somebody's body looks like a world by itself. Hello? Till then everything was okay, isn't it? You're 10, 12, it's okay. You became 13 and you look like this. Suddenly this is a world by itself. The neighborhood scrawny girl who didn't mean a damn thing to you, suddenly she's the focus, she's the apple of your eye. Yes? So this is because your intelligence has been hijacked by your hormones. So it is making funny things happen. It is making you believe all kinds of things. When you look back and say you'll feel stupid, but it's okay. There's nothing wrong about it. But it's very important that we understand what's happening to us. Otherwise, we'll do idiotic things that we may regret later, It is not a question of morality. It is a question of handling our life sensibly. This serial heartbreak business can leave you paranoid about anything, about bonding with anybody in your life. Yes or no? You had serial heartbreaks, it looked like fun for some time. After some time, you just don't actually trust anybody in your life because another human being is a problem always. Only when our emotions allow you to cross that problem, in some way they get included. But if we have serial heartbreaks, we will never allow our emotion to cross those barriers. We will always be cautious because anyway this is come with a… what's expiry date? Huh? When people come with an expiry date, yes, there is an expiry date for all of us, but relationships, the idea of building relationships is that it's of support on all levels of life, so that two people, that means two brains and two bodies, can do better than one in many ways, in various aspects of life, in profession, in domestic situation, in life, in companionship, in emotion, in arranging and organizing our lives, in every way. Two people can do better than one person, that is the idea. And of course, nature is pushing us together because nature doesn't care about your love affair, it just wants you to reproduce. Yes? You think Mother Nature is worried whether you love or you don't love, it wants you to reproduce. But we've overdone that a little bit. There's no hurry, we don't have to yield to that. Hello? Yes. If you were a tiger, I would encourage you, please reproduce, because it's an endangered species. Human beings definitely not endangered, we are endangering everything. So, reproduction is not the purpose right now, we have kept it aside. But nature's push is towards that. But we have emotional needs, physical needs, psychological needs, maybe financial and social needs, variety of needs, to conduct these needs in a dignified way, to conduct these needs in a… See, once you come as a human being, you can't do things, though they're the same things what the animals do, but we would like to do it more gracefully, consciously. Whether we eat or we copulate or we sleep, we like to do it little more aesthetically right. That's an important thing. For that, we need the cooperation of another person who is also somehow congruent to us. Every 2 days, if you have heartbreaks and going on, well, you will see the trouble of that.
You have to use your energies wisely. You will develop so much of personal power within yourself. You walk like a king because the power within you makes you walk like that. How far a human being goes in this life, materially, spiritually, or in whatever dimension, essentially depends on with how much energy he can crackle. Yes. There are a whole lot of people with lots of energy, but there is no wisdom or the necessary systems within themselves to transform this energy into a kind of a personal power. Power is not about somebody else, power is about you. How much of a potential power you are determines the intensity and profoundness of your life and how effective you will become in your life, in whatever area we choose to operate. If this power has to come, you have to use your energies wisely. Energy can be aggregated into power with the necessary wisdom and necessary tools that we employ. Otherwise, energy can be dissipated simply with endless amount of thought, endless amount of reactions and anxieties. I want you to observe your day-to-day life, a simple thing. Just let's say, how many words do you utter in a day? You never counted? Oh, you should. You should. Just make an estimate tomorrow, from morning to night, how many words you utter. Day after tomorrow, cut it by 50% and say the same things. You're not cutting off communication with people. You're still communicating, but with 50% of the words. Your language skills will improve for sure. And you will see, you will develop so much of personal power within yourself. See, there is scientific evidence to show at least 20% of your energy right now, as you sit here in a restful state, is being consumed by your brain. If you bring this down, that your brain is not unnecessarily fluctuating and, hopping mad all the time, if it learns to be still and do only what's needed, an enormous sense of personal power will develop. You can't do this with your mind right now. If you try to stop it, it'll hop even more crazy. At least do it with your body. Your words and your physical movements, reduce it by 50%. If you want to look at this, look at this. If you want to look at that, don't do this. With your body and your utterances, if you do this, slowly it will also start manifesting in your mind. It will not do unnecessary things. When you don't know unnecessary things, the energy that you have slowly transforms itself into potential power. So in developing this, the asanas that you practice, the Surya Namaskar that you do, if you're doing, or whatever other kriyas and other things that you do, is essentially to develop this power. This should not be dissipated in unnecessary action. Right now you cannot curtail the number of thoughts you're having in your mind. That also can be, if you just bring in a reverberation within you, a simple mantra. If this is going away crazy, simply chant for some time, create a certain reverberation. You will see it will generate enormous amount of personal power. Without this power within you, you will not break through dimensions of life. Life, right now, for most people, divine is just a scriptural dictum. It is not a living experience in their life. If it has to become a living experience, if something as powerful as the Creator has to come into your experience, there must be some sense of power within you. This must be always understood. Power is not about domination. Power is about becoming effective. Power is about becoming empowered. Only when you carry the potency of this power within you, you walk through this life. It doesn't matter where you're placed in the society, it doesn't matter financially where you are, materially where you walk like a king, because the power within you makes you walk like that.
This question is from Shekhar Reddy. Sadhguru, it seems like it is a time for prophecies. While many are referring to the foretelling of Putluri Veer Brahmam, a saint and seer from Andhra who wrote about corona in his Kalanyanam, others are referring to French apothecary, astrologer and seer Michel de Nostradamus. What is your comment on such predictions?
Wonderful, these predictions are wonderful, but they always happen after the event has occurred. So, all these people who are reading all these prophecies, why couldn't they prevent it if they knew beforehand? If you know beforehand and if you do not prevent a pandemic, that's called a crime of the worst kind. So, it is a human fad that they want to have a scope into the future. Isn't it wonderful? You don't know what will happen next. Otherwise, could you live? So, there are a whole lot of people, astrologers are attacking me all over the place because I am not good for their business. So, a human being is the peak of evolution on this planet. From the lowest level of creatures to, as you come, you will see they become less and less available to the influences around them. Let us say there is an earthworm. If something changes here, he will die. He's not going to take a swim and go to Africa and live there. Or he is not even going to go 10 miles away and live there. he will die because that's how much capability he has. If this terrain or if his habitat goes bad, there is nothing he can do. This is why we've been talking about rejuvenating the soil, because these microbes and worms which are vital for our survival, they will not migrate somewhere else. They do not have the capability of a corona. Corona doesn't have the capability, it is just that you're providing free transport. Human beings, the most mobile creatures on the planet, are providing transport. Our mobility, if we do not make it little more conscious, nature will control it. See, right now it's happened, we can't move. This happened. This was in Los Angeles. A hotshot corporate CEO had a pretty secretary. This is in early 20th century. Since then, much has changed. So, he said, "I'm going for a weekend in Palm Springs, why don't you come with me?" She said, "I know I'm your typewriter, but I'm not portable." Your portability needs to become little more conscious. It is human mobility which has empowered the virus the way it has. If this had happened 1,000 years ago, if where there was no air travel, no much sea travel, all this, then it would have been just there, wherever it happened. Wuhan or wherever it happened, it would have been just around there, maybe adjacent villages, something, and it would have died out. But because human beings have become so mobile, today they're in China, tomorrow morning they're in Italy, next day morning they're in United States or wherever. Because of this seamless mobility, suddenly corona has taken on a huge form. By itself, it would not have, because it needs you. So, this urge to always predict something. There was a man, he is no more, there was a man like this in Tamil Nadu. He predicted 500 years later, there will be a big flood in Tamil Nadu. I said, that's wonderful. People came and asked me, Sadhguru, what do you think? 500 years later, there's going to be a major flood. I said, that is why I'm sitting at the foothills. In case the flood comes, we will go up the mountain. You are in Chennai, you will go. He said, is that so? I said, yes. But I can also make some predictions. 700 years later, this hill is going to become a volcano and blow. He said, what, really? I said, see, 700 years later, I will not be there, you will not be there. We can predict whatever we want. Please tell me what is going to happen in the next 5 days. Not even 5 months, next 5 days, tell me what's going to happen. This could be useful. Like a meteorological report. If you tell me what's going to happen in the next 5 days, it would be of some use. 500 years later, anything can happen. And of course, people have such a fad about these things, they will adjust the time and the prediction. Just about everything that can ever happen on this planet has already been said by Nostradamus. I'm not a French, I'm not conversant with French, but I like the word damus. In English language, I don't know what it means in French. So This will go on and on, people making predictions, always of the past. Well, if you look at certain projection of how populations are growing, how things are happening, what kind of ecological damage is happening, you can make some calculation and predict something. That in this trajectory if you go, this is what you will hit. We can say that. But 500 years of trajectory is a different matter, because we do not know what all forces will influence things. People say, after the world war is over, they say, we knew this is going to happen, somewhere it is written. After the nuclear bombs, atomic bombs were dropped, people say, we knew about this, 2 ugly spots will happen in the world. What about the test explosions? You missed all of them, you don't know how many hundreds of tests have been done. Maybe human beings did not die, I'm sure. A whole lot of creatures have died. So this is a wasteful thing. Instead of doing what you have to do now, actively, you go on talking about how we already knew. There are 2 problems right now with coronavirus. Like somebody said, it is dense population and dense population. We are already a dense population, don't also be dense up here. Let's do what best we can do, don't predict how many people will die. It's just stupid. How many people we will not let them die, this is important.
If you are in a recline, your organs will suffer enormously.
You can stay in this posture much longer than any other posture. This is the most comfortable thing you can do. Your ability to use your body and your mind goes into a phenomenal scale.
Now, in your body, there is something called as skeletal comfort, muscular comfort, organ comfort, and energy comfort. Now, if you simply sit on a reclining chair, your muscles will be comfortable. But you will see, if you sit in a reclining chair, always your joints will struggle. Have you noticed this? You do one thing, you travel in a car with a reclining seat like this, you will see, you will be so exhausted by the time you get there. If you simply sit up, it won't happen to you, because only your muscles are relaxed. You feel like stretching out only when your muscles are tired, in reality. But your bones don't like it. Your bones like complete stretch out, but it doesn't like this half because too much stress on the skeletal system. Above all, your organs don't like it at all. All the vital organs in this region are not fixed with clamps and bolts or flanges. They're just hanging in nets like this. Yes? If you do this, your liver shakes. Yes or no? Yes or no? Even your heart is loosely fixed with all kinds of trapezes. It's fixed like this. Now, if you are in a recline, especially if there is movement, your organs will suffer enormously. Understand? If there is movement, you must always sit like this, straight. Then your organs are in better level of comfort.
You sit in a posture which is most comfortable for you. Preferably cross-legged, because that's the way it works, the body. It is a posture where the body will be in maximum contact with the floor, so which naturally, in terms of weight per square centimeter, square inch is minimal. So your ability to sit is better because weight is not just on your buttocks, it's spread across. Because of that, you feel much easier sitting that way. The idea of sitting crossed like this
If you prepare your body well, this is the most comfortable thing you can do. You can stay in this posture much longer than any other posture that you know of, simply because maximum amount of contact is there. That means your weight is distributed. Because of that, you can sit well.
The science of yoga not only has powerful tools for one's ultimate well-being, it also offers useful tools for one's immediate well-being, healing and relief. These tools can be termed as Upa-yoga,
Sadilaja. One part of Upa-yoga is called Sadilaja. Sadilaja means born out of looseness, loosening not only the muscles and the skeletal system, it is also about loosening the energy system. This helps to prepare and stimulate your system. Directional movement is a simple way of doing this. It also exercises the muscles without any risk of injury. Joints have a concentration of energy nodules, so by activating them, everything in the system gets ignited for action.
These three ingredients, your breath, your thought and your awareness, in the right combination, if you use them, you will see slowly a little bit of distance arises between you and your body. If you and your body-mind combination stand away from each other, then suddenly you will find your ability to use your body and your mind goes into a phenomenal scale. If right now, if you have to count from 1 to 10, right, the highest is 10, if that is so, if you're attached or if you're involved in this body, you're less than 1, that's where it is. If these two things come apart, suddenly you can rev it up all the way to 10. Your ability to use the mind and the body is so greatly enhanced that you almost look superhuman for somebody else. But I'm telling you, this is human. This is not about being superhuman. This is about realizing being human is super. Yes, not a simple thing to be human.
Do you have a phone?
Yes, I have a phone.
What do you do mostly with the phone? Make calls
It's
or…
my office.
It's your…
I don't go to any office. I handle everything on the phone today.
So, for young people who seek that enlightenment and get to know themselves…
You're saying I'm old?
Not at all. You are experienced in so many different ways and you give a kind of a toolkit at your…
Hey, don't use that word.
That word is dangerous, right?
Tools, yes, not toolkit.
Right. My job is to question all the time.
No, but I'm saying for every question, if you…
Know the answer.
If you know what is there, then…
It's death of my career.
That's AI is called.
Good one. I'll give that to you. Yes.
So you would be GPT, all right?
I'll give that one to you. I'm sure you must be thinking, what do I do? What is it that I do which the other people don't do? Don't you think that?
I do life, they do mental circus.
I do life. I've got my headline. When they come to you for advice, do many people think that you can see the future?
People try. These days they've given up because I know, they know by now that if they ask such questions, where I will take them. The important thing about my life is not about predicting your future, about empowering you to create your future.
You're one of those who has broken stereotypes, of a guru, of a yogi, of a mystic person who, extricates himself from the worldly life. You dance, you sing, you play golf, you motorcycle, you travel the world, you wear lovely clothes.
Is that lovely?
It is very pretty.
Thank you.
You seem to…
I design my own clothes, I want you to know.
Okay. It's from natural fiber, I can see.
Yes, that's a part of my mission. Save the Weave is one of the projects that we are doing.
Okay.
To bring back natural fiber.
You were at the Nita Ambani
The cultural
center.
center. Yes.
There too, we saw you walk the red carpet. I think Sadhguruji and in
No,
fashion…
they put a carpet was red, what can I do?
Okay.
If it blue also I would walk, if it
But you
black
like-
also I would walk.
Whom do you connect with easier? Rural folk or complicated city folk?
I even connect with the grasshopper as I connect with the most loud one in my life. We are misunderstanding the involvement of life to relationships. Because you're sitting in front of me, if you ask me who's the most important person in your life, I'll say it's you.
Yeah. What makes you ecstatic? I've seen you the video went viral everywhere. You were ecstatic when you were dancing. There was so much joy. What made you feel that at that moment?
I was not at that moment. I'm like that every moment.
Do you see home as in India? And are you traveling this year?
My home is within myself, so it goes with me wherever I go. Sometimes I like the food, sometimes I don't like, but it's like home. Sometimes food turns out well, sometimes it doesn't.
What is your existence right now? You lead very busy lives. You're constantly traveling. You want to touch people's lives and bring that blissfulness that you experienced into as many lives
Just
as
trying
possible.
to rub off my experience on people, that's all.
Sadhguru, in many of your books you labeled us as seekers, but to me some questions seem completely unanswerable. You talk about past life and future lives.
No, I never spoke about future life. Do not accuse me of that. Never I have spoken about future life because past yes, but never
Past lives
future.
and future. Yeah, I'm just giving that as an example. I say even past lives, but to me certain questions seem completely unanswerable unless you said, for example, in one of your satsangs that you know. I mean, so are we supposed to just accept that
No.
the knowledge is available when seems to me that it is not available to us?
No, you don't have to accept anything. Why should you accept? There is no need. So, because right now, your situation is like this. Let's say you were imprisoned for 10 years. You are in a cell, always locked up. One day, somebody simply quietly came, opened the lock and they went away. But you won't get up and move out because you want a neon sign, this way to freedom. Otherwise you won't move. When you are like that, we have to say vulgar things like, I know. Otherwise you won't move. So, the vulgarity of me sitting up and saying, I know, is simply because somebody is sitting in a satsang and he can't take his hand off his cell phone. So, nothing wrong with the cell phone. Is there something wrong with the cell phone? This was made for our convenience, isn't it? A gadget is made for our convenience. It's very convenient or no? It is. So every convenience that we create is becoming a nuisance and a bondage in our lives. Because in your life, you're constantly seeking only bondage. Please understand this. You're not seeking liberation. Wherever you go, you want to bond with something, isn't it? If you go on bond, you will become bondage as you age. What was a bond when you were young? Has it not become bondage as you age? All the time you're trying to bind yourself to something. So, when you're doing that, how will you know freedom? When you're investing in bondage, where is the possibility of knowing what is liberation? Please see, are you not always investing in how to bind yourself to something? You are. So this needs to change for you to understand. You don't… I think whenever I spoke about anything which is not yet in your experience, I always said, don't believe this nonsense.
Just understand this much. Do I look like somebody who'll sit in front of a crowd of people and make a fool of himself? Do I look like that? No. So if somebody is saying something so ridiculous or absurd or unbelievable for you, you must say this, okay, he's talking all this rubbish, let me see, I want to know what this is all about. If you say that much, that's all we want. If you say, I want to know whether this is true or not, that's good enough. You don't have to say, oh, what he's saying is true, then you will miss it. If you believe me, you will miss it. If you disbelieve me, you will miss it. If you say, I want to know this, only then you will know it, isn't it? You don't have to know what I know. You have to know what is true. So, seeking will not come to you because you're suspicious about something. Seeking will come to you only when you realize you do not know. If you see, I do not know, seeking is natural for human intelligence, isn't it? You cannot help it. The nature of life is such. One is packed into the other is packed into this and this and this and this. It will not be realized because you dissect it, which is all you can do with your intellect. Your intellect is a scalpel which is trying to dissect life. Are you married? If you want to really know your wife, today you must take a scalpel and dissect her. All the beauty of who she is, if you want to know, you must dissect her, isn't it? No, it will become ugly, it will not become beautiful. That's all you're trying to do. You're trying to know the existence. Using the scalpel of your intellect, dissecting it, it will only become ugly, it will not become beautiful. So, intellect, which is a simple, silly tool, which is useful to handle material aspects of life, you have raised it to heaven. You are giving it the glory of heaven and think this is everything. Whatever you see, you want to cut it and see. If you cut open things and see, you will know one aspect of reality. You will not know the whole of it. If you open up this man, you may see how the heart is doing dupu-dupu, but you will not know this man. You will not know the most vital aspect of who he is. All the other details you will know. So, with this, how far will you go? Physicality is all that you can cut, isn't it? Yes? Physicality is the only thing you can cut. Can you cut something which is not physical? And all you got is a knife. Okay, you also have a wife, but I'm sure she doesn't let it use it on her, your intellect, does she? She'll immediately put an end to it because she knows this is not going to go anywhere. That's one thing about women. The more intellectual you are, the more trouble you have with women because they know this damn knife will not take you far. It's not by cutting that you will know, it is by inclusion that you will know. That your intellect cannot do, it can only chop. Chopping, vegetables are okay. Life doesn't work like that. You can't chop life and know it. You have to include it, only then you know it. That's a different dimension of intelligence, which intellect cannot do.
When we say Krishna, the essence of who he is an irrepressible child, a terrible prankster, an enchanting flute player, a graceful dancer, an irresistible lover, a truly valiant warrior, a ruthless vanquisher of his foes, a man who left a broken heart in every home, an astute statesman and kingmaker, a thorough gentleman, a yogi of the highest order, and the most colorful incarnation. Krishna is seen and perceived and understood and experienced in many, many different ways by different people. Duryodhana, through the eyes of Duryodhana. For those of you who do not know the background, I will be, because unless you understand the whole tapestry of the story and the situation in which he existed, many aspects of who he is will be missed, so we will go into it. But right now, Duryodhana is a man because of certain situations into which he was placed. Insecure, angry, jealous, greedy and feeling wronged all his life. And because of actions which came forth from his greed and anger, he became the key for destruction of his whole race. In Duryodhana's words, he is a smiling rogue, if there was ever one. He can eat, he can drink, he can sing, he can dance, he can make love, he can fight, he can gossip with old women, play with little children. Who says he is God? That's Duryodhana's perception. Shakuni, the very embodiment of deception and cunning. Shakuni says, let us suppose he is God. So what? What can a God do? God can only please those devotees who please him. Let him be God. I don't like him. And when you don't like somebody, you must praise them. That's deceit. Radhe, his childhood lover, a milkmaid, a simple woman of the village. But with such unfaltering love and devotion, she has become so big that today you cannot talk of Krishna without Radhe. We don't say Krishna Radhe, we say Radhe Krishna. She has become a simple village woman. She has become as significant as Krishna or little more significant than him. She said, Krishna is with me. He is always with me. Wherever he is, whoever he is with, he's still with me. It's her perception. Vainteya, a youth who was the Garuda chief's eldest son, living on the mountains of Gomantak. A sprightly youth, because of a certain ailment, became totally crippled. This crippled youth, after he met Krishna, Krishna made him walk. So Vaintaya said, "He is God, he is God, he is God." Akrura, an uncle of Krishna, a wise and saintly being, expressed his perception of Krishna this way. Krishna, when I look at him, this strange young boy, I see the sun, the moon and the 7 stars whirling around him. When he speaks, he sounds like the voice of the Eternal. He's the hope. If there is hope in this world, he's the hope. Shikandin, a tortured human being, because of a certain situation within himself, right from his child. This is an absolutely tortured soul. So Shikandin said, "Krishna never gave me any hope, but when he is there, the breeze of hope touches everybody." I can go on like this. Different people saw different facets of who he is. For some he is God, for some he is a crook, for some he is a lover, for some he is a fighter, so many things he is. If we want to taste an essence of what it means when we say Krishna, the consciousness that we refer to as Krishna, if we have to be touched by this, we need Leela. Here we are for the Leela. Leela means it is the path of the playful. This is not for the serious types, are you? Because when I say playfulness, we are not here just to play. We are here to explore the most profound and the most serious aspect of life, but playfully, conducted playfully. Otherwise Krishna won't be there. The reason why the most profound dimensions of life have been missed by the vast population in the world is because they do not know how to be playful. If you want to explore this path playfully, if you want to be playful, you need a heart full of love, a joyful mind and a vibrant body. Otherwise, there's no leader.
See you soon for more discoveries and learning. Don't forget to subscribe and invite your friends to be part of this community of mutual growth.